Hello, Mrs. Duran's 4th and 6th period. This is Mrs. Martin, your librarian, and I'm sorry I can't be here with you today. I am home with my sick son, Oliver. He has a cold, so I'm going to record this presentation for you, and hopefully it will help you pick out some books when you're in the library. I'm going to start with showing you our library catalog. So this is Destiny. You probably use Destiny at one of your other school libraries, either in elementary school or middle school or both. And you can search for books in different ways. You can see keyword, title, author, subject, or series. And this is already set up on one of the library computers. This is sort of by the desk where Mrs. White sits, and she'll be in the library today checking out your books. So instead of, wandering or asking, where's this series, please check out the computer and type in what you need. Another neat trick is right here is Destiny Discover. And this is really helpful if you don't necessarily know the title or author of a book you want to read, but you know the genre. So as soon as this loads, I'll show you. Down here you can browse by topic. So let's just say fantasy, for example. It shows you all the fantasy books in the Oak Ridge Library. You can check for print books or ebooks. You can expand the list, and it tells you if it's available or not, and if it's been checked out. So that's a helpful tool for you today. So I'm going to show you 21 books in 7 different categories, and I'm just going to read a brief description of each one. I haven't read each book, but I do want to tell you the basics. Below each book you will see the call number. So if you're taking notes during this presentation, I would write down the title and the call number. That way, if you hear of a book you're really interested in, you know exactly where to find it when you walk into the library. F stands for fiction. You'll also see numbers. Those stand for nonfiction. Our library is pretty much divided into fiction and nonfiction. There is also a section for science fiction, and those books have an SF next to them. We also have a biography section, so those books have a B in front of them. So let's get started. Graceling. In a world where some people are born with extreme and often feared skills, such as graces, Katsa struggles for redemption from her own horrifying grace of killing and teams up with another young fighter to save their land from a corrupt king. An Ember in the Ashes. Leia is a scholar living under the iron-fisted rule of the Martial Empire. When her brother is arrested for treason, Leia goes undercover as a slave at the Empire's greatest military academy in exchange for assistance from rebel scholars. Shadow and Bone. Orphaned by the border wars, Alina is taken from obscurity and her only friend, Maul, to become a protege of the mysterious Darkling, who trains her to join the magical elite. And as you can see, these are all fantasy books, so topics are magic, adventure, princes, for example. Think of Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. Next, science fiction. Categories in these books involve space travel, technology, futuristic science. I would think of Star Wars and Ender Games, for example. First book is Pathfinder. 13-year-old Rig has a secret ability to see the paths of others' past, but revelations after his father's death set him on a dangerous quest that bring new threats from those who would either control his destiny or kill him. The Eye of Mines. This author also wrote the Maze Runner series. Michael is a skilled internet gamer in a world of advanced technology. When a cyber terrorist begins to threaten players, Michael is called upon to seek him and his secrets out. The Fifth Wave. Casey Sullivan, the survivor of an alien invasion, must rescue her young brother from the enemy with help from a boy who may be one of them. The next category is adventure. So things that are covered are danger, excitement, survival. Think of books like Call of the Wild or Life of Pi. The first book, The Last Thing I Remember. High school student Charlie West awakens bloody and bruised in a concrete bunker, only to discover that he has lost a year of his life and remembers nothing about escaping from prison after being convicted of murdering his former best friend. The Angel Experiment. After meeting the mutant erasers, abduct the youngest member of their group, the Bird Kids, who are the result of genetic experimentation. Take off in pursuit and find themselves struggling to understand their own origins and purpose. Into Thin Air, and you'll see this is a nonfiction book. The author relates his experience of climbing Mount Everest during its deadliest season and examines what it is about the mountain that makes people willingly subject themselves to risk, hardship, and expense. So these are all sports books. You'll see the first two are nonfiction, so they're true stories, and then the last one is fiction. This author, Mike Lupica, is pretty popular. We have other books of his, so if this one happens to be checked out, you might want to look in this same section, Fiction, LUP, for other titles. First book, Rising Above, How 11 Athletes Overcame Challenges in Their Youth to Become Stars. Athlete after athlete in this book found discipline, hope, and inspiration on the playing field, rising above their circumstances, filled with first-hand accounts from stars who exemplify the idea of enduring at all cost. Friday Night Lights follows the 1988 season of the Premium Panthers high school football team in Odessa, Texas, exploring the lives of the players and the impact of the championship team on the small town. $1 Million Throw. 8th grade star quarterback Nate Brody's family is feeling the stress of the troubled economy. He becomes overwhelmed by the pressure when he gets a chance to win $1 million if he can complete a pass during the halftime of a New England's Patriot game. Next category is historical fiction. So these books are set in the past. Think of The Book Thief or The Help. The first book, Salt to the Sea. As World War II draws to a close, refugees try to escape the war's final dangers, only to find themselves aboard a ship with a target on its hull. Copper Sun. 2 15-year-old girls, one a slave and the other an indentured servant, escape their Carolina plantation and try to make their way to Fort Moses, Florida, a Spanish colony that gives sanctuary to slaves. Secret. An empty mind is a safe mind. Follows a group of psychic teenagers in 1960s Soviet Union who are forced to use their powers to spy for the KGB. All right, biography category. So these books are located in the back right corner of the library. So there's a sign that says biography, but you'll find it when you see that all the books have a B on their spine label. So the first one, Samurai Rising, chronicles the life and career of Samurai Yoshitsune, discussing his exile as a child, running away as a teenager, becoming a military genius, and more. This Star Won't Go Out, a memoir told through the journals, letters, and stories of young cancer patients Esther Earle, who inspired the main character of John Green's The Fault in Our Stars. Taking Flight, the autobiography of Michaela de Prince, who lived the first few years of her life in war-torn Sierra Leone. until being adopted by an American family. Now 17, she is one of the premier ballerinas in the United States. So just to be clear, these are all true stories. The first one is more ancient, the second two are modern, but they are based off of real people and real events. Alright, the last and 7th category is mystery. There are other categories you can search for in the library, but I felt that these would probably be the most relevant to all of you. So the first book in the mystery category is Asylum. 3 teens at a summer program for gifted students uncover shocking secrets in the sanatorium turned dorm where they're staying. Secrets that link them to all of Asylum's dark past. The Cuckoo's Calling. Corman Strike is barely scraping by as a private investigator. Then John Bristow walks through his door with an amazing story. His sister, a legendary supermodel known as the Cuckoo, famously fell to her death a few months earlier. The police ruled it a suicide, but John refuses to believe that. So, with The Cuckoo's Calling, you'll see the author's name, Robert Galbraith, but it's actually J.K. Rowling's. She used a pseudonym when writing this book, but I just wanted to let you guys know that is the true author of this book. The Diviners. 17-year-old Evie O'Neill is thrilled when she is exiled from small-town Ohio to New York City in 1926, even when a rash of occult-based murders thrust Evie and her uncle into the thick of the investigation. So I hope this helps you decide at least what genre you're looking for in the library, and hopefully some of these titles caught your attention. Sorry I can't be there today, but I look forward to working with you soon when you guys come back to the library for the library orientation. Thanks!